Hello, and welcome to the Sisters of the Shire Podcast. I'm Abby, and today, as always, I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Ashley. And this episode, we are going to finally, it's been so long, we are recapping the season finale of Season 2 of The Rings of Power on Amazon Prime. And sorry there's been so many Rings of Power episodes, but also not sorry because I wanted to finish this season. I was like, oh my gosh, the season's going so well. I wanted to just keep watching them. So that's why Ashley and I are like, can we do another Rings of Power episode so we can actually finish it and watch it? So we finally got to watch the season finale. So we don't have to worry about spoilers or anything like that because we're finally done. But also in my heart of hearts, I'm so sad that we're done because who knows when the next season's coming out. These things take so long. This show takes so long to make. But I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be a few years before we get the third season, which they are already okayed. So I feel better about it. You know, I feel like, okay.
Not gonna leave us on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, they're not gonna leave me on a cliffhanger, even though, you know, we know how it ends. But
Yeah. I want to know how they think it's gonna end.
Well, it's kind of like the end of the middle of the story before we go to the rest of the story. It's the
Yeah.
end of the middle.
The end of the middle. I like that.
Yeah. That being said, like we say every time we do a Rings of Power episode, we are so happy you're joining us. If you do not enjoy the Rings of Power or you just isn't your jam, that's cool. Next week we'll probably have a regular episode. We are planning some fun guests for next month because it is our birthday month. So we have we're hopefully going to have a guest every episode of May. So 4 guests this next month, and I'm so excited. One of them I'm very excited for. Well, I'm excited for all of them, but one of them was like
I was gonna
a
say.
get. Like, oh man, he actually accepted our small but humble podcast.
Please, sir, will
Yeah,
you
please,
join
sir.
our company
Of
2
just
young women?
some young maidens who just are
Yeah.
trying to do, their best out there. So let's get into it because this episode is crazy. It's
Crazy.
crazy. Um, as I've done before, I'm kind of because we watched it last night, and so my brain is not 100% all the time, and so I have to go. I follow a blog where she recaps every episode. So thank you, the Geeky Waffle, for just giving me a
Thank you, Geeky
refresher. I'm not gonna like fully rip her off and read her whole blog, but she kind of gives me a
We should
refresher,
have
and
her
it's like,
on.
yeah, and she kind of has the same thought process as I do, and some new points where I'm like, oh, that's cool. So if I reference her, I will give her another shout out. So you just know. Anyway, so let's get into it.
I'm still
These,
processing emotionally
yeah,
this episode.
it was fantastic acting. The music,
Yes.
beautiful. The camera work, fantastic. The special effects, epic. Like, what? There were so many things where I'm like, whoa. Like, it felt like I know I'm gonna be chastised for this, but it felt that epicness of like the movie feeling. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a really intense scene, and I'm loving how um much they put into it, like production value they put into it to make it
Yeah.
seem so clean and well done and beautiful and bloody. There was a lot of blood this episode. Um so what was their blood budget? I always make that joke because there was another show that I was watching
Yeah.
where the blood budget, I'm like, what the? I was like, who was this? Like half their budget was the drums of fake blood they had to bring in. Um, so
So we start the
we
episode with a diamond, which I thought was interesting.
mm,
Did you notice that?
and it's in Khazad-dûm, right? We're in Khazad-dûm.
Khazad-dûm. Yeah.
Where we from the last episode we saw that King Durin had kind of gone off the rails a little bit and was attacking other dwarves, and that's the reason why Durin the younger, Prince Durin, could not go help Elrond, is because his dad was attacking people. And so he's like, oh no. So
Hold on.
oh man,
Gotta get take care of my dad before he goes psycho on everyone. Oh wait, too late.
yeah. um and so we have crazy King Durin like smashing a wall with this like crazy like ca-
What
like
called? Battering
pendulum
ram?
hammer. Yeah, I
I
don't
didn't
know.
know that was like a common mining tool.
I mean, it looks a
It
lot
looks like
easier.
a siege weapon. It
It
does
looks
look
a
a lot
lot
easier. Yeah.
easier than what they were doing. But in the scene, you see that he's like so. It's kind of like the scenes with Celebrimbor where you're like, oh, he's like falling apart. His like
He's not okay.
he is not okay. He's like his eyes are all sad and like droopy, and it looks like he's aged like 100 years, and he looks really sick, and like it just is kind of sad to like
You know, one thing I thought of when in this scene with on that line was is it Thror in the Hobbit movies when he you see him
uh-huh,
the dwarf that had the ring, and he kind of looks like that too.
uh-huh.
Um Made me think of that. Just like a bit of the crazy eye, definitely, but also
Yeah.
the you are not well, sir.
Yeah. It definitely was taking a toll on him, you could tell. And so Prince Durin was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this ring off of him. And he was about to do it, but then he stopped because his dad was
His
like,
dad called his bluff.
yeah.
You wouldn't hurt me.
And so
And the saddest face ever on Doran. I literally have it paused right now. Just like, no,
yeah,
you can't.
I'm sad. Yeah, I can't do it, Dad. Papa. um So we see what King Durin was actually doing. He smashed a hole into the mountain, and then you see all it was that was beautiful, the special effects of that, but the all the mithril in the
Mhm.
mountain, you're like, oh. And then you see a because it's like this blue, beautiful kind of like whitish blue crystal light everywhere, and then you see this like red orangey light, and you're like, uh-oh,
It looks like a
that's
sunset
not
is
the
on his
same.
face.
It's like that's not the same thing. And then
Mm.
who's that? That King Durin practically was like knocking on his door. That's what it sounded like
Knock,
with that
knock,
big
knocking on
hammer.
Balrog's door.
um the Balrog's like in the middle of watching The Bachelor, like on his couch, and he's like, "What? Ugh, fine." He like slams his remote down. He's like, "That's why he's so grumpy." He was in the middle of watching The Bachelor. Someone rang the doorbell.
Mhm.
He was really annoyed. Um, and yes, so there was the Balrog that we know in the future will murder everyone.
Decimate. Yeah, everyone.
Will
Uh,
murder everyone in that mountain, and well, no, he doesn't. There's a lot of trolls and other things that murder everybody in that mountain, but um he helps
but
a little
he's
bit.
not done after this. He's not dead.
No, no, because we know it's the same Balrog from um, the Lord of the Rings
Right.
tale. But the Balrog, like, okay, I have a question about Balrog. What is the word? Like mechanics, I would say. So he is like basically made out of like shadow and flame, and he's got like smoke wings, and he's basically made out of lava and rock and stuff like that. But he also can like make his weapons appear. Like he like made like a spear out of like the smoke turned into lava and he suddenly had like or like fire and he had like this crazy spear. But he does the whip like how we see in the Fellowship of the Ring and he whips it around like how he whips it around Gandalf's ankle. He whips it around Durin's ankle, right?
Which is weird that he just like did that and then like let go. He didn't drag him all the way down. I'm like,
Yeah.
why would he stop?
Okay. But wouldn't that just melt his leg off? I've always wondered. Like, wouldn't that
Like
just
the
like
lightsaber. Are we talking the lightsaber thing here?
yeah. I'm like, whoa, are dwarves that tough that they can just like withstand a Balrog whip around their leg and it doesn't like just completely melt off their leg and like pull their leg off? Anyway, that
I mean, it
was
didn't
just my
split
like,
Gandalf's leg. But yeah,
but
that's
Gandalf's
an
a
excellent
Maiar,
point.
so I'm like, I don't know, maybe. Um,
True.
but
But let's not
so
forget the Balrog is also
Rogs are Maiar too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in that moment, King Durin's like, you know what? I was wrong about this. This isn't how I wanted this to go. He had a moment of clarity. Somehow, maybe that whip to the leg shook it out of him. But he's like, you know what? You're right, son. And he calls him King Durin. And he takes the ring off, which I'm like, yes, good
Finally.
job. And he picks up his awesome giant axe, which I'm like, that's huge.
But also,
And
where did that
he,
even come from?
yeah, and he literally, like, Ashley called it the Jack Sparrow jump from when he
Yes.
goes jumps into the Kraken's.
Jumps into the Kraken, yeah.
Yeah, he like jumps off the ledge with his tiny little dwarf legs, and he's like, "Wing."
Yes.
And but like it that scene where it's like we're the perspective of Prince Durin and we're watching this in a cave, this Balrog in huge face in front of you, and then you see the king just jump off with like this giant axe, and then the Balrog has like a sword. Is it a sword? I think it's a sword.
It almost looks like
And
those the things that the Urukai use with like it's straight, but then it's not an axe, but it's got this weird hook thingy on it.
those like weird hook sword things. So he has one of those.
You guys know what we're talking about, okay?
Yes. Uh-huh. Um, and what I think is awesome is that when his sword hits Durin's axe, it doesn't just like slice through it. They like it's like when you are blacksmithing and you use your hammer to like hit hot metal and it like sparks like that. It was like, oh my gosh, it looked so cool.
It looks
And
so
then
cool.
that was amazing, like special effects, CGI, like that was really cool.
That was really cool.
Props,
Uh
hats off
I
for
loved
that.
so Doran the younger is was no no father no and he's reaching out and he looks like he's gonna go after him, but then Disa comes up behind him and stops him, and I was like, okay, I'm very glad that they added that detail because sure as heck Disa was not going to be like waiting for him, like wonder when he's coming back. Like,
So yeah, she's with
just gonna
Narvi.
sit
She's
here
like,
and
he'll be
knit.
back any second. I'm pretty sure. Just 5 more
Yeah,
minutes.
let me just tidy up this cave while we wait.
Yeah.
She's not a sit and wait person, so
Hmm.
I appreciated that ode to Disa's like character.
Hmm. So
She
then
went after her man,
we lose
her dwarf
King
man.
Durin, and now Prince Durin is king of Khazad-dûm.
Durin the not
Um,
so deathless.
and so what's after that? So we finished that.
Then we are with the stranger,
Oh
and
yes.
he is wandering around trying to well, he was trying to find his friend. That's where we left him, or his staff, his Gend. That's where we kind of left him. He's like, okay, Tom Bombadil's like, you can either go after your friend or you can go find your destiny. And so it was kind of abrupt, but he chose his friend, because he's where the Stewards live, and it's very dark. It's all quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he
And
just
then
sees
we
the
meet.
horse of one of those mysterious rider people in the masks.
Mm-hmm. And then we meet the
The
Dark
Dark Wizard,
Wizard,
where we
which
had Monway promised you would come. Silmarillion reference.
Monway
Yay.
mentioned.
Monway
Monway
mentioned.
mentioned. Um, so what I think is crazy, because they've done this before, where you're like, who is this character supposed to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not Saruman.
It
It's
can't
not.
be Saruman.
It just can't, because it just doesn't make. If they pull that, that's going to be a little disappointing. That would be kind of
It's
like, what the heck? But
I'm there'd have to
I
be
don't.
like a huge redemption arc or something. But then
Yeah,
also, why was he so trusted? Yeah, I can't see it. I can't
maybe.
see it.
I mean, it is Saruman the White, and that guy's not a white wizard yet. So, like, if they were gonna go to Saruman, maybe it's because he changes to be Saruman the White, and then maybe um Gandalf's like, oh, this is a new person, like how
Yeah.
like
It
how
sure as
Celebrimbor was
heck
like, that's
ain't
not,
our Radagast.
yeah, it's not Radagast for sure. So we're like, you know what? We don't know enough. And in the show, the Dark Wizard, who never is named, never say his name, but he says, we are brothers. We are the same thing. We are Maiar. He says that, right? That we're Maiar, that they're
Hmm.
Maiar.
Five
Had
of us
to,
there
that
were.
there's 5 of us. Yeah. And so we've got Gandalf and Saruman and Radagast, and then the 2 blue wizards, which we don't know anything about, other than they went to the east, right? Didn't they go to the east?
Hmm. They went to the east.
So,
And I just thought about this. Do you remember? And we've learned this because we read the Silmarillion, yay us. And
woo.
when the wizards were called to go to Middle Earth from from Valinor, Sauron was like, "I got this, you guys. I totally want to go. I want to go. Send me. I want to go." He was like jumping up and down, like, "Send me, send me, send me." And
Ooh, pick
Gandalf's
me.
like, "I don't really want to go, but I guess I'll go if I have to." Um, and then he had to convince the 2 blue wizards to go. From what I remember, I'm trying to remember right now. But the Dark Wizard says, "You convinced me to leave." So if it was Saruman, that doesn't add up. So I also agree with Blue Wizard.
Yeah. Plus, remember when Radagast, like, we compared like, if you're gonna go, you have to take your little brother with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, fine. We'll
Yeah.
take Radagast with us.
Yeah.
um. So, uh,
I
we
like how he's like, we did that. We came to defeat Sauron. Sorry, that's making me mixed up now. And the stranger Gandalf is kind of like, "I thought you were on Sauron's side. I'm so confused." And the Dark Wizard doesn't deny it. He's just like,
just changes the subject.
yeah. I have an idea. Let's talk about the mystery of your name and who you are. Let's just do that. Segue.
What's over there? Look over there.
Distraction.
Um. So, we see. Okay. Can I say? So we see like the masked people who like work for the Dark Wizard or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and he kills the Dark Wizard, kills one of them, trying to say like, oh, I'm not working for these guys. These guys are the enemy. Like, these guys are the bad guys.
No.
Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of sad we don't get to see what they look like under their masks. I wish that they
Oh.
had shown that, because I was like, they like kind of teased it. They're like, you should see what he's done to us under these masks. What I look like now, like blah blah blah.
My
I'm like,
people
well,
were
what
once
do you look like?
kings.
You never did. You just died. You got thrown against a pile of wood, and you got a piece of wood stuck in the back of your head, and now you're dead.
What budget?
So don't pull that like super cool mask without like having a fun reveal at the end, you know? Unless they bring him back for
Mhm.
season 3. I don't know.
Well, there was a bunch of them.
Yeah. Um
My people were once kings, so I mean, it has to be like the starting of the
Easterling?
Easterlings. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
for
some
sure.
kind of yeah.
Um anyway, and then Poppy and Nori are oh, and then the Dark Wizard breaks a whole mountaintop and was like, "Okay, well, my plan didn't go how I wanted to go, so I'm going to just smush everyone." And Gandalf, oh, sorry, the stranger is like, I can try to make the rocks not kill everybody, but he, like, tries his hardest. But he makes sure that most people live
But
by
sorry, right, holding them up as much
by
as he
holding it
can.
back.
But this is an
Yeah.
interesting point, though. This is what very much differentiates Gandalf between Saruman. Not that this is Saruman, but it's the same concept that he's gonna have to keep repeating, I guess, throughout his life. Is Gandalf asks. Okay, we're just gonna call him Gandalf. Okay, we know he's Gandalf. Gandalf asks the Dark Wizard, uh, "If we defeat Sauron, will that suffice, or are you wanting to take his place?" And the Dark
Yeah.
Wizard's like, "Heck yeah, I want to take his place. Like, and you can join me too. We'll have a party of it." And Gandalf's like, "Yeah, that's not really my thing. I don't really want power. I just want to, take away the bad guys and hang out with my fun Hobbit friends." And that's when the Dark Wizard's like, fine, you're not going to be my partner in crime, I guess. I guess I'll just kill you and all your little friends. So that's when he breaks the ceiling, and that's when, yeah, things happen. But interesting that that was the same exact ambition that Saruman had. Um, and also Count Dooku, thinking about it too, in the Christopher Lee realm
Yeah. All
of,
Christopher Lee characters.
yeah. So we'll defeat the bad guys and then we'll be in power. Isn't that so cool? And then we can do it however we want to do it, buddy. And Gandalf and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon will be like, no, that's not how we do things. There is only one Lord of the Ring, and he does not share power.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. So, sorry. Proceed.
So then he saves the Stoors and Poppy and Nori.
Mm-hmm.
And
And nobody.
huh? And nobody.
And nobody. He lives.
Which
He's got
can
to
we
live.
talk about the volume on that guy's hair? I mean, what product is he using? Because that's crazy. Um anyway, and then we jump to um where do we go after that? We go
It
to
looks like Linda. Oh, no, it's not Linden. We are in. Where are we? I see a tree. It's a white tree. Oh, we're in Numenor. Numenor.
oh, that's
Um,
right.
it shines. It's a beautiful white tree. Which coincides with this time of year. I freaking love apple blossoms, you guys. It looks kind of like it. With annoying girl ringing the bells, and
Mhm.
because she has gathered all of the faithful, which can only be a good thing. It'll
Rounding
be
them
fine.
all up
It'll be
for
fine.
a good reason, right?
Yeah. Uh, and then Farazan comes down. He's like, see all you faithful. And the faithful are like, but we don't answer to you. We answer to Queen Muriel. We just went over this because she freaking like defeated the sea creature
Sea
thing. And
worm.
yeah, the sea worm. And apparently Farazan saw some things in the Palantir that uh, Muriel that Halbrand is Sauron. I think that's basically what they're implying here because it's very vague. Like he hands him a letter and it's like, oh no. So Halbrand is Sauron, and that and because Muriel sided with Sauron, that means she's not trustworthy. Like that's basically it, right?
Okay, so the like phase is it phase on Saron
Farazan.
Farazan
Farazan.
brought his like Farazan brought his like second command dude. with him, and he's like, "We
Yeah.
found this that says she's working with Sauron," and it's like a brand new scroll that like someone had written, and they're like, "Well, it's written on paper. I guess it's true, everyone." Like, like I was like, "What? Why is he like? I wrote this thing just now, and it's real. Like, it is a real thing that like I just made
Why not
up,
just say
but I
it
wrote."
if he like, if it was a new news, if it was a new revelation, why not just say it?
Yeah. Right? And so,
For
like,
him to read it
they
himself. Just
now all
a
the
little weird.
faithful are, like, being
Being hunted.
hunted across the city, which is so sad because 'cause I'm like, "What did they ever do?" You know? And, um
It reminded me a little bit of, oh, Prince of Egypt or, like, that, like, gotta get all the firstborns. It literally felt like that, though, that way that they're, like, soldiers are, like, going through the city and, like, pushing over civilians and grabbing, random ones, like, because it's not everyone that they're grabbing, it's just select few, but they are not being even nice to their own civilians in the process.
so it's very sad. Like, people are
Very
being
sad.
dragged out of their homes, which I'm like,
Mhm.
"Why?" Um, and annoying girl, I don't even care to remember what her name is. I don't know what it is. Um she's like racing to find Elendil, and she's like, "Dad, you have to get out of here. They're chasing these people out." And he's like, "Because you told them to?" Like, this is basically you doing this. So like, why are you coming to warn me when anyway. Um so he slips away and he tries to take Queen Miriel with him, but
Oh, and we see that the Valor are crying too.
oh
The
yeah,
Valar tree
the
is
tears
crying.
of the Valar because of the the petals of the tree are coming
Are
off,
falling.
and it's so sad. I love
Sorry.
that they added that. I love that,
I
like,
love
that's a little nod to, like, people who know the book a little bit. Like,
Yeah,
this is a sad thing that's happening, and the significance of those dropping petals are, like, a big deal.
yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I'm
but he tries to take Miriel with him, but she's like, "I'm not gonna go with you, but here, have this shiny thing instead." And what is that shiny thing?
Narsil, which I'm like,
And
how did we even get that? So I'm like trying to think of the timeline of events, and I am confused. Because I mean, we don't know a lot about Narsil, but we do know that a dwarf made it. So there's not a lot of dwarves on Numenor.
so
So because Telkar is awesome, and he's the one that made it because he made uh,
in the Museum of Telkar.
the Museum of Telkar. Yes, he made things from long ago. He made the freaking dagger that Baron uses. He made the helm of Dorloman. I mean, a lot of cool things. But he's not like visiting Numenor.
Maybe somebody
I
took
don't
it.
compute. Maybe somebody took it. But who had it? Who did he give it to originally is the question. I'm gonna have to do some research on that.
Do some
Sorry if
research on
you
that
guys
one.
yeah, sorry if that you guys are like, actually, blah 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 blah. You should have known that. I'm like, just watch this last night, dude. I'm just putting together the dots right now. Give me a minute.
I'm only one person. So she gives him
Uh,
Narsil, and I love that they kind of did a throwback to when Elrond gives Aragorn the sword, and he opens it the same way, and I'm like, yes, it's a
just in front of his
family
face.
trait to open swords that way.
But it doesn't almost hit her, which I really wanted it to, because every time I watch that scene, I'm like, Elrond didn't even freaking flinch because
He's
Muriel wouldn't have flinched because she couldn't see it, you know?
yeah. She's like, "Was that close to my face? I couldn't tell." Um, so he
Then we go
gets
back to
the
he gets
sword.
Narsil. That sword.
That one sword that does those things.
Mhm. Mhm. Then we go back to a region that is being overrun with orcs, and there's like two elves left in the whole thing, it looks like. And
The cool
I stand
parkour.
by I stand by our analogy that showmanship was part of that last elf's main repertoire, because he does the cool parkour thing and then he's like, oh, I gotta actually fight, not just dance fight, and then he dies. So like that was the extent of his skills, was the parkouring. um then we see Galadriel with a bunch of women trying to escape. She gets them out through a tunnel, and the orcs already knew about the tunnel, apparently.
Yeah.
So, not good. She agrees to be taken to Adar with because she has the rings, the 9 rings for the men that Celebrimbor gave her. And the slimy smile on the orc's face.
Yeah.
I think Master will like that one.
Maybe he won't kill me this
And
time.
then, yeah. And then, oh my gosh, we see it shoots to this like 2 streams of blood, and they're pretty dark and they're pretty long. I'm just saying, is it realistic? But that's just me. I don't know elf anatomy. That's a lot of blood. A lot of blood. Because apparently Annatar slash Sauron is using him as using Celebrimbor as target practice. And it's like the saddest, most pitiful thing ever.
He's like literally
He's being
slumped in
Boromired.
he's literally slumped down on the ground against a pillar, and Sauron is like 20 feet away, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to use a longbow with giant arrows,
They're
and I'm going to
huge.
just. And he's not hitting him in the chest, he's hitting him in like his limbs, and so like his
Yeah.
shoulders and his
Legs.
legs and stuff like that, because he wants to keep him alive, but it's like the most painful thing. And it's like he's like has like 7 arrows in him. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? And Sauron is so mad. He is very angry that
But he
Celebrimbor.
still has a cap on it though.
The
Because
what?
he still has a lid on it, on the anger though, because he is able to, he literally shoots an arrow at him 10 seconds and then walks up to him and tries to stroke his face, saying, look at what you've done to yourself. The manipulation, man. I
The
cannot.
gaslighting.
That is so dark and twisted. Super gaslighting. But Celebrimbor
But
did not fall for
Celebrimbor is
it.
faithful to the end. Celebrimbor is faithful to the end, and he, ugh, when he was talking to him and he was mad, but he was like being like calm about it, but he was like twisting the arrows in Celebrimbor while
Mm-hmm.
he was talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Oh,
And
mention of Gondolin too.
mhm. And but that actor, Celebrimbor's actor, what's his name? Um
Oh, we went over this last time.
what's his name? Uh I don't remember. He does such a good job.
Kudos to that guy. Kudos.
He does a very good job in this scene, cuz that's like crazy acting going on.
But
Um
also, I will say, Sauron, shout out too. The the looks of intensity, the look of anger and just fury when he's firing the arrows, and then the look of like soft concern, like, look what you've done to yourself, you poor thing. And then, he's trying to manipulate him, and Celebrimor's not having it. And he's like, the concern, I did all this for you. Like,
yeah.
just, oh man, serial killer
So
vibes.
and then Celebrimbor says something that really ticks him off. Like, you're just the puppet or something like that, or like you're not as
Hold on.
grand as you think you are, and you're, awful. You can't create anything. That was another one where he's like, you can't make anything or something on your own, and um, which is a big deal, especially like I think he's seen that with how Morgoth was like bummed bummed out because he couldn't create anything,
Mm-hmm.
except for evil, gross things. So, but
Oh, sorry.
he,
Sorry.
well,
I saw the line that we're talking about. So he's saying there are ways of keeping you alive, and he's holding this freaking spear. And
mhm,
did you think is that, and it says, should I show you that craft as well? Do you think he's referring to making orcs?
yes,
Okay.
because they come from elves. So he's like, I can keep you alive after torturing you, but
Oh, can you imagine a
I'm gonna be,
Celebrimbor orc? Oh my god.
um,
And that's when he digs at him saying, "Craft, your only craft is treachery."
yeah. And then Sauron did not take that very well. And he said, "Oh yeah, well, here you go." And he like stabbed him, but it's very reminiscent of the books that he was like, I think I texted Ashley about it. I was like, wasn't he used as like a on a pike or something that he was like paraded
You
around
texted
or
me.
something like that?
You texted me, "Is his head gonna go on a pike?" I'm like, "Not his head."
Yeah. And then I said, "Oh yeah, it's his whole body," and it was like a flag in war, but it was his body
Mhm.
that they were parading around.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they're gonna do that, but
Well, he stabs him in the stomach, and then with one hand, apparently, with this spear, I'm like, the physics of it don't work, but,
yeah,
he just pushes him up this column, and that I think that's as far as they're gonna go. But in the
yeah,
books and other things, it's hinted that it is up other places.
yeah, like during battles and stuff, right? They like pull him out.
No,
Anyway,
the
so
spear was supposed to go up other places, Abby.
oh, I thought you said they were parading him around other places.
No.
Yes,
Um,
yes, I remember that part now.
um,
But
yeah. Interesting though
so
that
good.
Sauron cries after he stabs him though.
I Yeah, that guy's
Is
crazy.
he crying at the great mind that he can't
Yeah, that's
manipulate
what it is.
anymore? Is he crying at the loss of the things they could have made together? It is interesting, again, comparing it to the books, because the spear being shoved up in other places, it's they imply that he's still alive with
Uh-huh,
that happening.
uh-huh,
And
uh-huh,
that's when he's
uh-huh.
kind of paraded out, like you said, like a flag.
Uh,
But it looks
uh-huh.
here like he dies. So
Good. I'm glad we
curious
didn't
what's
get
gonna
to see
happen there.
that level of like Game of Thrones violence.
Yeah. Me too.
Um, so R.I.P. Celebrimbor. You did a fantastic job being that character. It was amazing.
You swayed
Flowers.
my opinion, sir.
Bravo.
I take
Bravo.
it back. I take it all back. I
Bravo,
apologize.
bravo.
Bravo.
Um,
Then the eloquent orc walks in and he's, "Are you
the
Sauron?"
oh yeah, the very eloquent or
It's interesting to me that the orcs turned so quickly on Adar, because the hatred that they had for Sauron in the first episode when they are like having the meeting after Morgoth fell, like it was palpable, and he like conveyed multiple times how he doesn't care how many die. He's never been kind to them, and so that's why they all killed him, you know. But he's active, this eloquent orc is actively looking for Sauron, because in this one battle Adar was like really kind of lost sight of the children, but he still didn't though. Like he still was sad at the funerals, he was still sad at every death. Like I just don't understand why they would go back to Sauron when Adar
uh-huh.
cared so much more about them.
Yeah. I was gonna say I found the quote that I loved when Celebrimbor is dying and he goes to Sauron, he says, I foresee the rings of power will destroy you, and in the end I foresee one alone shall prove your utter ruin.
Yes, I forgot that part.
That
More like two, because
was
as we all
Frodo could
know,
not do it alone.
Frodo cannot do it alone. But also Gollum, contributing factor.
He was the the meat that
The
the corpse that
catalyst.
made it into the Made it in there.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know where it is in here, but we'll just go over it.
Okay, so
So we
then we
see,
go
or
to Isildur and Annoying Kid,
oh yeah, Theo,
which was
and
like,
they talk
I don't
about
know, it was so, like, jarring to me because it's been so long since we saw them. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you exist."
yeah, but then he talks about like, hey, how do you feel? How do you get over that feeling that you killed your own mom? And Isildur's like, I don't know.
Never did. That's why I'm
Yeah,
so brooding and troubled. That's why the ladies
yeah.
like me.
And then we see that annoying wild man girl that I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, you stabbed him in the leg and he's still got the hots for you. And she's complaining. She's like, my husband, he built me a house, but I can't enjoy it because I saw you for like 2 days and now I'm in love with you.
Mhm.
And then they make out and you're like,
Wasn't a
whatever.
fan. Not a fan.
No, I don't feel that love at all. Like I'm like, ew, I don't
Nope.
like this. She's so
Yeah.
annoying. I'm not a fan. Um and and then we jump
He
to
wants her to he wants her to go with him to Numenor because apparently they're all going back to Numenor.
yeah.
And
How
so
he knows that,
he's
I
like,
don't know.
"Leave your husband for me. Come with
Yeah,
me.
he's like,
Leave
"Yeah,
your
come with
husband
me."
that we just rescued, that you just got reunited with,
Yeah, who's building a house for you as we speak.
where
Um,
men aren't allowed usually ever. Let's go back to
yeah,
Numenor together."
yeah. So, Galadriel is taken to Adar again because she gets abducted by orcs again, and she
He's
goes and sees
he's
Adar.
placed so weird. It looks so awkward. What are you doing on that
Like,
log, sir?
well, like, why could he just be sitting on the log facing the other direction? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So you
Not a
don't
clue.
see his face, and then he turns around, and he's wearing her ring, Galadriel's ring, and he's
Which
an
looks
elf
fabulous on
again.
him.
It's a pinky ring, which is so funny looking because it's huge. But
And it's so sparkly and it's very
yeah,
feminine. So seeing it on Elrond later too, it looks weird. Oh no,
um,
we forgot Kemen. Annoying what was it? Annoying girl and oh
stupid
stupid
son.
boy. Stupid son and annoying girl. Um and oh man, is he so stupid and stuck up and literally like nose in the air this whole time and it makes me want to punch him in the throat. Um and he basically is just I don't even know what he's doing there really. Like they're supposed to form some kind of a settlement there. Um but he's like this place is a dump. And I don't know why they would want to settle there because wasn't he super against going to Middle Earth? Kind of confused. Um and then he seems glad to see Isildur alive, which we all know is BS because he freaking killed his best friend.
I
And
think he saw Isildur and he's like, "Oh crap!" I'm like, "Oh no!"
yeah,
And then he's like, "Your sister will be so excited to know that you're alive, but I'm never gonna tell her."
yeah. I did love the like you survived, and Isildur's like, with the help of Beric. I'm like, yes, give credit where credit is due, man. And then I love to see that it like pans over to Beric, and he's like, nay, yes, I did.
It's like, "That's me." He, like, throws
I
his
did
hair
that.
back like, "Yeah." Okay, but Ashley and I
uh,
agree.
and
This
then
was the
so
worst.
oh,
Okay, Ashley and I agree.
so
This is the
awkward.
worst part of the episode where we're like, "What the crap?" Where
What the
that girl
crap?
that I don't even remember her name. I don't even know her name. The girl that made out with Isildur. She's standing on the dock, and he goes, "Is there room for one more to come with us to Numenor?" And he like looks at her lovingly, and she looks at him, and then her freaking husband is standing like 5 feet away from them, and he's like, "Huh? What? What's going
And then
on?"
he even walks over to them too. And he kinda,
Like,
like, looks at Isildur, looks at Kemen. No passage for low men.
but it's like,
Low men.
huh? Like, why
So
would
awkward.
he ask? in front of
in
her
front of
husband.
everyone too.
Like, that was so awkward. Like, I'm in love
So
with this woman
awkward.
who's actually married to that guy over there, who's only like 5 feet away from me, but we're gonna run
And
away
he's
together.
just finding out. Yeah. This is how he's finding out. It'll be great.
Oh my gosh, so awkward. I don't know who wrote that scene, but that was really weird. But they get denied passage. Well, yeah, because he doesn't know
They're
his
low.
father's.
Oh no, I think Isildur leaves
Oh yeah, he
because
does.
he's not a low man. But this is where Isildur finds out, though, that Elendil is wanted for treason because he's one of the faithful.
So anyway,
And then
so back
freaking
to
Kemen threatens the horse, and I'm like, you killed the best friend? But you, sir, do not kill the goodest boy ever! You do not get to kill Beric.
what if Barrack kills Kevin? That would be the
Oh
greatest
my
comeback.
gosh. I was trying to decide what would be the best death for him because then he says something about needing to cut trees down to like make the fortification or something like that. A fortress for its soldiers, and then he says they're only trees,
Yeah.
and I kind of was like, Beric death or Ent death?
Ripped
Beric
apart by
death or
Ents.
Ent death?
Work
Which
they
would be
work
more
together,
fitting?
Barrack and the Ents.
I love it.
um
Uh,
so and then is that when we go to Galadriel and she
that's when we go
sees.
to Galadriel.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
sorry.
he has the ring on and he turns around, right? He's like kneeling down and he turns around and she sees that he has the ring on and that he's an elf again, like pure, no Uruk evilness look to him. And gotta say, he looks pretty good. He looks pretty good as an elf. I can see it. Um, and he's like so. Uh, okay, so what is it? Like, not tired. He's like, I don't want to. I want us to work together. That's basically what he's telling her. Like, please, I don't want to like lose an ally to beat this guy that is probably impossible to beat. Um, and he gives her back the
Interesting,
ring, which is
which is
crazy.
crazy too. But I also think there was a motivation of he talks about, the last time I looked like this, I went by another name, and I earned the name Adar for myself, and I have to earn back my other name. It was just given to me before, but
Yeah.
I have to earn it back. So
So he gives,
interesting that he feels like he can be redeemed.
yeah. So he gives back the ring and he turns back to being gross looking. And then we see Glug. Glug is the articulate
Glug.
orc. Um,
Yeah.
and he's like being carried in on a stretcher. And he had just been with Sauron. So you're like, oh, probably Sauron just stabbed him because he was angry. And
Oh, I knew it was a trap right away. I was like, do not trust
and
us. Do
then
not
it's
trust
a,
us.
it's a trap. It's a
It's a
trap.
trap.
And Glug Glug stabs Adar, and then it's like very reminiscent to the scene where all the orcs are stabbing Sauron, where he's like just
Yeah.
on the ground and it's like, everybody take a turn. Everybody gets
Yeah.
one stab, okay?
Oh, everyone gets 20 stabs.
I know there was a lot of stabbing,
Lots of
for
stabbing.
poor Adar.
And Galadriel just stands there. I'm like, this is the time that you leave.
Yeah, and so poor Adar just
Poor
gets
Adar.
just like turns into a human colander. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he, uh,
Pretty
what
sure
is
he's
it?
dead, right?
Yeah,
He has to
he
be dead.
he did. But then
He did.
Adar is there
No.
suddenly.
Annatar. Sauron
Annatar's there,
is there.
not Annatar. Annatar's there suddenly, and you're like, what? How did he get here?
Yeah.
Um,
And he grabs the crown of Morgoth, which
yes.
I still want to know the power that it has. I'm trying to figure that out.
Mm.
What power it could have.
Maybe it has
Because
some
Adar
silver
never wore it.
residue on it.
Well, yeah,
Um,
but Adar never wore it or used it.
Maybe he
We
doesn't
can
want to.
kick
Maybe
it
it's
with
like, ugh, I'm not wearing that after that guy wore it. No thanks. He's got lice. um, so they Sauron and Galadriel sword fight, and it's pretty crazy.
And I wish we could have seen a close up of his sword because his sword later, you only see like the hilt of it. It looks epic.
It looks like a you remember the video game Soul Calibur? It'd be something from that.
No, that's a
If anybody
thing.
knows what I'm talking about, there's a video game that's kind of like Mortal Kombat where you fight like two characters fight each other, but it's called Soul Calibur and it's pretty fun. But the weapons
Ooh,
kind
I
of look
love
like
her hair in the back too.
that.
Um,
So they
Interesting use of the crown with the sword fighting.
yes.
I kind of liked that. That must have been fun to kind of choreograph. I
Mhm.
also love his method of sword fighting, where she seems very passionate, in control, but passionate. And he's just kind of like a robot almost.
Yeah. Like I could kill you at
He just
any second. I'm just gonna like ting 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 ting.
yeah.
um,
Um, and then we go
but
back and we see Gil-galad
oh my
and
gosh.
your boy
Uh,
Elrond.
they're both my boys.
They're both your
Um,
boys. Let's be honest.
so they're being like dragged into the city by Oryx, and they're like so sad looking, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And the part where Elrond's like, please don't burn the books. Please don't burn all the scrolls and
Sucks.
everything. And I'm like, why? If you said you wouldn't have said anything, he would have done anything, Elrond. If you would have been like not mentioned that they were
No,
special.
it wasn't a
Of
pile
course an
already.
orc.
It was
No, but I'm saying, what do you think an orc would be like? Oh, these are special? Okay, okay, we won't burn them. Guys, don't burn these ones. These ones are special. Like, what did he think saying that was gonna
right.
do?
Like
I
he
don't know.
should have used the tactic. Like I'm sure your master will want to keep these. You'll get in big trouble with your master if you burn these. Like he should have gone with that
Like,
tactic because maybe Sauron
yeah.
could have learned something from them.
Yeah.
I did love
Uh,
Elrond fighting back and literally lighting that orc on fire. That was cool. I was here for it.
um, the blog that I'm following about the books being burned, she's like, I do appreciate Elrond's efforts to save the archives as a book lover myself, though I think elves could learn to back up important documents in more than one location. Perhaps their fatal flaw is believing too strongly in their own immortality.
Yeah, that's a good point.
um,
Multiple backups, guys. And we see that Arondir's alive right there too.
we called it. We called
Freaking
it.
knew
No,
it.
no,
We called it.
you have to do from Muppet Christmas Carol. And Arondir's back, who was not dead, who
I
did
love
not
it.
die.
Who did not die? Yeah, there you go. I will make that meme later. Then we go back to Sauron and uh, Galadriel's fight, and oh man, that poor
He's like
actor. He does not blink that entire scene. I swear, like his eyes must be so
the
freaking
other
dry.
the other budget is just eye drops for him.
It
Um,
really is. Because I've made this clear. That is my way that you can tell someone is evil or perceiving to be evil is they don't blink. They got the crazy eyes.
they gotta stare with them laser evil eyes.
Yes.
Um, so they're fighting, and he keeps like changing into different people. So then he was like Halbrand again, and then he was
Although the hair did not look right for Halbrand. Something did not
yeah,
look right for him being
and
Halbrand.
then he
Something was
was
it.
they lost the wig. They couldn't find the wig from the first season,
Right?
and
That's what the
then
problem was.
who was he after that? He was
Celebrimbor. Or was he
Celebrimbor.
Galadriel?
No, he was Galadriel, and then he was Celebrimbor,
Yeah.
and then he was back to Sauron.
Yeah.
But trying to kind of throw her off her game a little bit, and then he
Understandably
stabs
so.
her. Huh?
Understandably so.
Yeah, and then he stabs her with the crown,
Crown.
which like that means she got stabbed in like three different places at once.
I did like the little Easter egg. I see you. I know your mind.
Yeah.
Um, because what does he say after that? Sorry, I'm waiting for it. Dramatic pause. Dramatic pause. The door is still open because that is literally what Sauron says when Frodo puts the ring on in. Is that the first time you ever put the ring on in the Prancing Pony? He's, I see you.
Yeah.
I see your mind. The door is
No,
still open.
I don't know if that's the first time. Because,
The first.
yeah. No, because the first time he puts it on is when they're being chased by ringwraiths in the Shire, and he like
Uh.
is
uh
about to put it on. No, he's like about to put it on, and then he
okay.
doesn't.
Yeah. That's the first time he goes into the what do they call it? The
Like
Nether
trance,
realm or
yeah,
the outer
thing.
the darkened. You know what I'm talking about.
Mhm,
Um.
mhm.
But yeah, I like that little Easter egg. I see you. I know your mind. Easter
Yeah.
egg.
Uh, so he stabs her and like is like scraping her against the wall, and I'm like, ow, ow, that looks like it hurts so bad. Um, and she
Also, where
goes,
are
you
they
know what?
fighting? The runes on the columns look so freaking cool. And I was wondering,
Yeah.
is this it reminds me of Amun-Hen when uh what is that fight? In the end of the fellowship, right?
Oh, when Boromir gets killed
Yes, but this is like the where Frodo freaking falls. Oh
down
no,
the stair.
Yeah, and then Aragorn finds him, and then Aragorn uses that like thing as the high ground, and they
Mhm,
fight all over that place. Yeah,
mhm.
that place. You guys know what I'm talking about.
So she's like, looks like she's about to give him her ring because he's like, give me your ring, give it to me, I want it. And she's like, okay, here you go, psych. And then she jumps off a cliff, and um,
She's pulled an
Gilgalad,
Elrond.
Gilgalad, and uh, Arondir see
Elrond.
her do that, and so they rush
Like,
to
what are
her.
the chances they happen to look up at that exact moment?
Yeah, they rush to her and see that like the evil in her wounds, which how could she survive that fall? That was like hundreds of feet.
Hmm.
Like that's insane. So
Oh, but you forgot a horn bellows in the distance, Abby.
yeah.
And we see the courtyard of Gil-galad, with Gil-galad, Elrond, and Arondir.
And Gilgalad does my favorite part.
Dwarves.
Yeah, he's like dwarves. Okay, but also the dwarves, their arrows are like so
Crossbows
thick.
or cross
Yeah,
cross.
they're like so thick. They're like an inch and a half wide
Well, they
dowels.
have to look different than elves. Like, we can't copy that. Like, we have to make our own arrows.
Yeah. So,
Um, then
the
he thinks that
dwarves
it's
come.
Durin. Elrond's like, Durin! And it's like actually Narvi. And I love his little
Yeah.
flaps that open.
So the dwarves actually do come, and he explains where Doran was, which I'm like, thank you. I don't want
Yeah,
some like sadness to be like, you never helped me. And it's like, oh, some
yeah,
finally someone explained something.
yeah.
Um, and then we see Gil-galad and Arondir and Elrond rush to Galadriel, and she is dying, like actively dying, because the the crown, has evil black goo. Put evil black goo in her, and
Which is
they
interesting.
have
I
their
never correlate. I mean, the metal looks exactly the same, but the Morgul blades that the Nyan end up using later look very similar. But I never put those two and two together. Maybe because I didn't see a crown as a weapon. But you know,
uh,
and then we see the orcs come to Sauron, and he's like, "We're overrun. The dwarves, the eloquent orc is like, we're overrun. We have to retreat. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" And Sauron's like, "Stab." So
right in the
you
throat
get
too.
that's
Took
what
his
you get,
eloquence
glove.
away.
Kind of had that coming, glove,
Uh,
for betraying your
yeah.
daddy. And then I was like, "No, he has a
So,
wife and kid at home."
okay, so Galadriel's dying, and they're like, we need to help her. And then Elrond's finally like, we can help her. If I put on this ring, I can help her survive, like, be healed. It takes him so long. Like he is literally like standing there watching her die, and he's like, "I know how to solve this, but I'm gonna stare at her for another like 5 minutes." And I'm like,
Maybe
"Put
it
the
will.
ring on."
Maybe
Yeah.
it will. She will magically be healed. Maybe there's a time delay, and because I love how Gil-galad's like, I'm gonna just yell at the stuff. Get out of there. Okay, I'm gonna yell again. I tell him I'm
Go
gonna miss
on.
this. Get
Go
out of
on, you
there.
get out of here.
Yeah, and then he's like, it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, I tried.
Yeah.
But seriously, that made me so mad. I'm like, why is he acting so slow? Just go help her.
Yeah.
Um, and then she gets healed, and we see her kind of like, what's the word? We see like she wakes up in this like place that Ashley and I agree probably will be
Rivendell.
Rivendell. Um,
Imladris.
and she is she sees the elves that have survived, and her and Gil-galad and um Elrond and Arondir are they like kind of they don't really even say anything to these elves. They're like they just kind of put their swords up and their hands up like we can do this. We are triumphant. We can, survive. And that's the end shot on the dwarves or the elves, which I thought was really cool. I liked it. I thought it was really cool.
Then we go to Nori, and they're dealing with the aftermath of the Dark Wizard throwing rocks around.
Yep,
And
and
she just
everybody's kind of
happens to be.
shell shocked.
Yeah, and there was that tree that the stores had that had these like ribbons hanging off of that, and the tree is just obliterated, and she just happens to be taking off one of those ribbons off of this random branch that I'm sure is not going to be significant later. And she just like shoves the branch away, like this is in my way. It's not in her way, but it was in her way apparently.
Yeah.
And then we have the sad thing with Nori is dealing with the loss and she's not sure she can handle it. And she's like, I want to fix it. And
Hey,
uh, Poppy's like, well, when my family died,
you know what?
Mr. Burroughs sat me down and told me some things can't be fixed. I don't, if you have OCD and someone says you can't, you're like, oh, but I will, so that I would not have taken that well. But
It was a
Nori just
beautiful
goes,
quote, though. It was a
yeah.
beautiful quote. Um,
Um, but I do
and it
like
kind
that
of
it pans
showcased
out. Oh yeah, it
different
pans out to
storylines.
during the Deathless dying, um, Elrond having to leave Eregion. This can't be fixed, and this can't be fixed, and the refugees from Eregion. This can't be fixed. Uh, Looking at Theo, this can't be fixed. Yeah, that boy cannot be fixed. Um, and Isildur leaving on the Numenorian boat, and the awkward, uh, the annoying girl there, Estrid, and her husband holding hands, because I'm sure he has total trust in the relationship after this point. She's not going to be,
Yeah.
condemned for, trying to leave her husband at all. It's going to be fine. It's going to be great. Totally stable.
They're tighter than ever,
Um,
stronger than ever.
and then we go back to Numenor, and Muriel is in chains in front of Farazan because technically she's one of the faithless or faithful. And then we see Elendil, and I think we saw a glimpse of this before.
It was what he
Of
said on the plant
Elendil.
here.
Wait, he saw it or she saw it? Oh yeah, he saw it,
He
huh?
saw it.
Of him like riding through a forest and with like the city in the distance, and him basically having to escape from Numenor. But what was interesting though is that in the distance was a bunch of smoke, which maybe was just from the ransacking of finding the faithful, but also if you know what ends up happening to the faithful in the book, you're kind of like, oh, did they start already?
Burning them.
Yeah. Did the burning start already? Because that is quite a lot of smoke for just some ransacking.
Yeah.
Um, and then we see Sauron holding the hammer of Fëanor, and he's just kind of sitting there thinking. And I'm wondering
Twiddling
if
his
he's
thumbs.
twiddling his thumb. He's like, maybe I will make my own ring because I'm the only one without one right now. I want a ring. Um, and then we go back to Poppy and Nori, and looks like they're parting ways. The stores are going to have to find their new home, and Poppy's kind of taken it on herself to help them find it. She's fulfilling that destiny for herself that the stores had kind of prophesied about. Basically, she's going to find the Shire for them, is basically what I understand.
Nori is? Or
Yeah,
Poppy?
Nori.
Nori. She
And they
says
keep
goodbye to
calling
the
him Grand
stranger.
Elf.
She
What?
says goodbye to the stranger. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, she doesn't really say she's leaving with them, but it's like, where is she going? Like, where's she gonna go?
Yeah. What's your plan? Um, but the stores keep calling him Grand Elf, which is an interesting concept that's what they want to call him because they're like, and Nor even kind of comments on it. Like they've never met an elf before, so they just assumed you were an elf, but you also look old, so grandpa wasn't quite right. So Grand Elf.
Well, they
That was
thought
they
he
saw
was
as
the
the most
Dark
fitting.
Wizard, and then they saw he wasn't the Dark Wizard, and so they're like, Grand Elf it is, because we don't know
Yeah.
what you are.
Which sounds an awful like what his name is gonna be. So he's walking out. They say goodbye to Poppy, and he happens to stumble across a staff that looks awfully familiar, although it looks way too clean right now. Like it does not look worn enough.
True,
Um,
true.
and that's when he knows that is his staff. And oh, it's so dark. Oh, then he goes back to Tom Bombadil, which I loved this scene so much. Um, and he was like, "It was a test. You were testing me to see if I would choose my friend over my destiny." And he chose right, because that is the choice that Gandalf is going to make
You
over and over again.
chose wisely.
Yes. um, and then I love that they sing together. That was so
I know.
cute. I loved
God.
that so much. And I love that they added his song because, man, the songs were such an integral part of the books that I'm glad they were able to include it here. Kudos to the actors, and I'm trying to remember like what would their path be after this. So Tom Bombadil and Gandalf are like, now what are they gonna do? He has a staff. He gives himself a name, Gandalf. And now what are they gonna do? Like we solved two of the problems. Now what are we gonna do?
They're gonna travel around as a singing duo. That's what it is.
Apparently, I'm here for it. But I love that he knew the song, the lyrics of the song, because like it's not like a repeating rhyme. It's very different words the whole song. Be a hard song to just like catch on to. Then it goes up to the stars, and then it goes back down to the dark wizard who's looking at the stars. And I'm like, did the stars change after that event or something? Because the dark wizard's just staring at him.
Yeah. I don't know.
It does kind of look, yeah. Um, and then we go back to Khazad-dûm, and Narvi is able to report to Durin that Eregion is gone, but Elrond's okay. Your buddy's okay. Some survivors, were able to flee. And he says, "Tell him Khazad-dûm stands ready to offer aid once more."
Okay,
And
Disa
then
made me
Tisa's
mad
like,
in that.
I know. We have troubles of our own. Your father's passing has left us in a tangle. How has it left them in a tangle? Um, and apparently the lords of the Blue Mountains are mad about this succession. Um, there's rumors that there's a brother that maybe have been the more rightful heir because he was like more favorited than Durin, which is odd because we never ever saw him. And then Tisa and Durin have this look between them, and they see the rings. They look at the rings for a second, which I'm like, don't you do it. Don't you do it. But if they have the rings, Sauron didn't pass them out like I thought he did. So how
No,
are the
Doran
dwarves
didn't
gonna
pass them out, remember?
Oh
He
yeah,
had them
you're
all,
right.
and he's like, "You don't touch these. These are mine." I can wear them on all my fingers.
um, so interesting that how are they going to get to the dwarves then if Doran is so against it and not wanting to wear a ring? But and then we go to Galadriel in the valley that looks like Imladris. And I do love the look of Elrond wearing the ring because it is so feminine and so sparkly. And then they're like, oh no, Sauron survived. He's gonna go after Lyndon next. He's gonna take over all Middle Earth. And like, how are we gonna protect ourselves? And they're like, through the rings, of course. And I'm like, where's freaking Círdan at this point? He's just chilling back at the Havens. Because that's probably where they're gonna go, right? That's where all the refugees end up, is the Havens.
He's barbecuing when they come back. Where have you guys been? So
you guys missed happy hour.
So I gotta say, I loved this season. I thought this season was way more fun and exciting and adventurous than last season.
I agree.
But I love the little Easter eggs we got from the Silmarillion. I love all like the little name drops, and the CGI was crazy this season, and I loved it. I loved every minute. It was great, except for the awkward parts.
Yeah, not a fan.
And those girls, most of the girl actors, except for Galadriel, I'm not a fan. Every other girl character, I'm like, ugh, no.
It's very true.
Yeah. Every other girl character, I mean, not the actresses, the characters.
Right. Which, I mean, if anything, means that the actresses did a great job, that we hate them this much. So
yeah,
good
true.
job.
Well, Ashley, thank you for watching with me.
Thank you for watching with me. Until next time, I've been Ashley.
And I've been Abby. And this has been the Sisters of the Shire podcast. And we are so happy that you joined us today. And we hope that you can join us next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for teaching me a day.
Yay!